Hi, Missy from HR here. So in this video, I want to continue on with the hiring for managers series, and I want to cover the topic of debrief sessions, which is not something that is always done, but it's a really good idea. So at the point at which you have completed all of the interviews and your team has completed all the interviews, you as the hiring manager want to schedule and facilitate a debrief session where you bring all the people who interviewed for you on the interview team and have them come together to discuss the candidates. So my recommendation is that you first look at each candidate against the job and not against each other. So perhaps have a list of the essential criteria that you need out of this candidate. That's on the one side of the list. And on the other side of the list, score the candidate. So whether it's a pass fail or if it's some kind of ranking, number, weighted, however you want to look at that, and then go ahead and evaluate as a team that candidate, and then determine whether they go into the pass or the fail group, right? So then at the end of it, you have everyone who's made it and has passed on to the next session. So then you can start to look at them against each other. The reason I don't want you to do that in the very beginning is because you may not have anybody that meets all the criteria, and you don't want to settle, and you don't want to assume that you have the right person in that group of interviewees either. So once you've determined that they meet the criteria, then you have your group of people who have passed that test. Then you can look at them in comparison to each other. During the meeting, though, you do want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to speak. It's your chance to make sure that, you know, what the candidate has said is validated by other people on the interview team as well, or if there are discrepancies. If they told one person one thing and then yet another person something different, why is there that gap? It's your opportunity too to make sure that if there's any missing information, that you gather that and then perhaps contact the candidate and ask those follow-up questions if it's warranted. During that meeting too, it's your job to make sure that you hear from everyone. So, you know, extroverts tend to take over meetings. I know I'm one of them, and you need to make sure that you temper that. So if you have introverts on the team, or if you have someone who's having trouble getting their voice heard, make sure that you call them out pointedly. You know, hey, Tom, what did you think about Molly? And make sure that you're giving them that window to speak. So things to consider other than the criteria once you've segmented out the people who have passed that test. You want to look at, you know, things like how do they fit? Again, you know, when we looked at the type of job you needed, some of the things that we were considering was, you know, do you have a mature team that's developed, that maybe you can bring on someone who's more green? You know, consider those kind of things. But, you know, more importantly, look at some of the things like the energy. You know, when the person was interviewing, did you feel an energy working with them? Was it, you know, something that you were excited about, or was it just, you know, You know, you want to walk away with a candidate that makes you feel like, yes, I got Molly on my team. If you don't feel that, then you may not have the right candidate, and you might want to keep looking, because settling is definitely not something that you want to do, no matter how big of a crunch you're in. I say that, of course, with an asterisk. I know there's probably exceptions to that, but in general, not a good idea to settle. So it's making sure that you have looked also at the cultural fit, right? And I don't mean that they are a cookie cutter copy of everybody else at the organization. What I mean is that they are adaptable and flexible and willing to be inserted into the team, and that they have, you know, characteristics about them that will lend themselves to be positive additions to the team and not negative. That diversity piece is really critical, and we'll talk about that in another video, but that's the debrief session. Thank you.